All right, let's talk about something you've probably run into if you've ever tried to get an AI to write code for you. Prompt engineering versus fine-tuning. It's a classic showdown, right? Well, we're diving into a fascinating new research paper that puts these two methods head-to-head to see which one really comes out on top for coding. So, what's the best way to turn an AI into a coding expert? Think about it this way. Do you give it super specific instructions, or do you basically send it to school? Is it better to craft the perfect question for a genius, or to train a specialist from the ground up? All right, so let's set the stage for this AI coding challenge. It's like a classic matchup. Two methods enter the ring. Let's see who's left standing. So yeah, the official names for our two contenders here are prompt engineering and fine-tuning. Prompt engineering is all about, figuring out the perfect thing to say to a massive model like GPT-4 to get it to do what you want. Fine-tuning, on the other hand, that's where you actually retrain a model on a whole bunch of specific data to turn it into an expert on one thing. Okay, so to really get a handle on what makes these two so different, let's break them down with a couple of really helpful analogies. So, first up, prompt engineering. The best way to think about this is like you've got a world-class consultant on speed dial. This person knows a little bit about everything. You're not there to teach them anything. Your job is just to ask the absolute perfect, most detailed question to unlock the exact knowledge you need. And then you've got fine-tuning. This is totally different. Imagine taking a really smart person, a generalist, and sending them to an intense, specialized boot camp. They come out as an absolute master of one very specific skill, say translating Java to C#. The trade-off? They might forget some of that other general stuff they used to know. And this really puts it all into perspective, right? Prompting is like briefing that brilliant consultant. Fine-tuning is like running that specialist through boot camp. We're talking two completely different approaches, but they're both aiming for the same goal: great code. So with that in mind, the researchers decided to set up a true showdown. They took the giant consultant, GPT-4, and put it up against 17, 17 of these highly trained, fine-tuned specialists. And for this first round, it was pure machine versus machine. No humans allowed. Now, you'd think this would be a slam dunk, right? I mean, GPT-4 is an absolute monster. We're talking about 1.76 trillion parameters. Common sense says it should just walk all over these smaller, specialist models. But is that what actually happened? Okay, let's get to the results. First task up, code summarization. Just tell me what this code does. And bam, GPT-4 takes the win. It was a solid 8.33% better than the very best fine-tuned model. So round one goes to the big guy. But wait, hold on a second. Because when the task switched to actually generating new code from scratch, whoa, a massive upset. GPT-4 was a shocking 28.3% worse than a fine-tuned specialist. The specialists just blew it out of the water, an absolute knockout. And things got even weirder with code translation. Check this out. Going from Java to C#, the fine-tuned model won. But when they flipped it and went from C# back to Java, GPT-4 was actually better. So what's going on here? It's definitely not a simple one is better than the other story. The researchers basically said it all in their paper. They said automated prompting with GPT-4 didn't really blow the fine-tuned models away, which they say means we need much smarter ways to prompt it. Basically, just firing off a simple automated instruction isn't going to cut it. And that brings us to the real game changer. What happens when you ditch the automated tests and put a human in the driver's seat? What happens when a person can actually guide the AI? Well, this is where the whole story gets really, really interesting. So it turns out the secret weapon wasn't some super complex, perfectly engineered prompt. Nope. It was something way more simple, something we all do every day, just talking. It was conversation. The researchers got 37 developers and students together for a study to see what would happen. And the results? Honestly, they were night and day. Look at this. User satisfaction with the AI's first answer was already pretty good, right? Over 83%. But after a little back and forth, a conversation, it jumped to almost 95%. That little bit of interaction completely changed the outcome. So how did they do it? what did this conversation actually look like? Well, it was all the things a real developer would do. They'd ask for improvements, like, hey, can you make this more abstract? They'd add specific instructions, get rid of the main method. They'd give it more context, ask guiding questions like, is this really the most efficient way to do this? And yeah, they'd just straight up point out when the AI made a mistake and ask it to fix it. And this wasn't just about people feeling better about the answers. The performance boost was real and it was measurable. We're talking a 15 to 18% jump, depending on the task. It's clear that this human-AI partnership was unlocking a level of quality that neither one could get to on their own.
So where does that leave us? What's the final verdict in this showdown? Well, it's pretty clear there's no simple winner. It's not about which one is best. It's about understanding the trade-offs you're making when you choose one over the other.
Okay, let's break it down. When it comes to performance, the specialists, the fine-tuned models, can definitely win on very specific automated tasks. But the potential for prompt engineering, especially with a human helping out, is just massive. Now, cost. Prompting can get pricey if you're doing it a lot. The study cost around $1,500. Fine-tuning costs a lot to set up, but then each individual use is cheaper. Ease of use? Not even a contest. Prompting wins hands down. Anyone can open a chat window. But, and this is a big but, if you need absolute control and predictable, consistent outputs, fine-tuning gives you that power in a way prompting just doesn't. And all of this kind of leads to one big final question. What if the best AI coder isn't a machine at all? What if it's a partnership? This research seems to be pointing in that direction, that the real magic happens when you combine a human's know-how with an AI's incredible power. The future isn't just a better model, it's a better team. What do you think about that?